Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Discover unbeatable deals and convenience at your neighborhood family fare supermarkets. Score exclusive deals, earn rewards, join clubs, and clip digital coupons for extra savings all in one place. Our exclusive offers bring savings straight to your card. Explore a wide range of local products that support your community. With easy pickup and delivery options, saving time and grocery shopping has never been easier. Family Fare is all about making your grocery experience easy and affordable and your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. Family Fare in your neighborhood.
The pop culture feel,
So tell me, Izzy, what kind of illegal things have you been arrested for?
I mean, I got a ticket.
You don't have to tell me.
I got a ticket for driving with my lights out at night once. That's all, but that's all code talk, and you would only know that if you were in the drug trade. So, driving at night with your lights off is actually just all code talk for drug stuff. So
yeah, drug smuggling, cocaine,
smuggling,
massive,
smuggling
if
cocaine.
You got, if it was a broken tail light, it would be meth. But since you said headlights, it's definitely a big cocaine smuggling. Yeah, so that's cool, man.
Driving without windshield wipers means I was smuggling small Mexican dogs up from Chihuahua. So
okay, perfect,
it's really convoluted.
Okay, so you're saying I can... What you're saying is I can trust you during this podcast.
Yes,
then.
you can trust me. I will not reveal anything that you say in this podcast to anybody that we cannot absolutely trust, Cameron.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
Because this podcast is all about the cartel.
Yeah.
And if I've learned one thing out of, the people I've talked to, the places I've been, you don't mess with the cartel.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I think specifically what we're talking about, we were talking about this before the show started, but the word cartel has been around for a long time. It's just like a collection of groups that conspire to control a certain area of commerce or a certain product or, a certain industry in order to, set prices and all that kind of stuff. That's technically, I guess, a cartel. More specifically, what we're going to be talking about today is the South American drug cartels. Because we've had I think we've had a mafia episode in the past, and that gets into Italian mafia and Chinese mafia and Japanese mafia, a Mexican mafia or whatever.
A lot of organizations.
Yeah, a lot of organizations, but I think in pop culture, it's rich with opportunities to talk about our favorite. It feels weird saying our favorite.
Yeah, or who's your favorite cartel?
What's your favorite cartel pop culture? Because it's like we're not talking about good people today. Maybe we're talking about the people that go after them, but it's drug cartels. So
it's like knowing everything that the drug cartel has done and continues to do. The Oxford Dictionary definition of cartel literally makes it seem like, the most white-collar crime ever. Let me read it to you.
Okay.
It's an association of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competitors. That's literally sounds like any business ever,
Yeah.
But it's totally not. They're like hanging people that steal money from them by their toes naked off of like high, freeway bridges and shit.
Yep.
And smuggling tons and tons of drugs across international borders and killing people left and right.
Yeah, influencing governments, corrupting governments, paying people off, police forces, army forces, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, the cartels are some of the biggest game players we have. And like, obviously being located in the United States, our biggest threat in my opinion, is obviously the Mexican cartel, just being so close and with the amount of, drugs and money and people they're laundering over into America. For me, I think the near peer threat is the Mexican cartel. And it's, these guys aren't, someone to mess with, because you think cartel, like all the pop culture we've seen, like they, use small arms, and they're just like, they some of them just look like gangsters, right? They're just, not good people that are just focused like small time players. But no, the cartel is like armed to the absolute teeth. They have military assets. They have, big guns. They have a lot of money. Yeah. And
a lot of organization.
A lot of organization and a lot of support as well. Because you like see articles coming out in Mexico, and there's some really cool people that I follow. Like shout out to this guy. His name's on Instagram, Ed Manifesto, and he's he is a former Mexican police officer, or he's and he trained special operations in Mexico and all that, and pretty much all the experience he had is like with their cartels and what's going on. So if you want to do a little investigation of what kind of that life is like, follow Ed Manifesto. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But I mean, it's not very cool, because like these dudes aren't to mess with, right? There's a lot of pieces of pop culture that you're like, oh my God, like, and I've seen the presence growing up in LA. Like MS-13 is, a Mexican gang that has heavy ties to the cartel. And the way the cartel is organized is like endless, because you have the cartels, which are region specific in Mexico as well as other parts of Latin America. Like everybody knows Pablo Escobar,
right?
And the Sinaloa cartel, which is Sinaloa, Colombia. So it's not just in Mexico. It's, they have cartels for each region in Latin America and each country. But I think, there's some really well knowns, which is obviously Mexico, and then, Pablo Escobar in Colombia. And, I've had the opportunity to go down to Colombia and talk with some of the drug enforcement police there. And it's a huge issue. Like, it's still something they're combating every day. And the cartels are still running, cocaine production labs within the jungles and, exporting them and making billions, if not trillions of dollars off of the drug trade. Yeah, it's so obviously their funding isn't an issue.
Dude, money is one of those things, man. The more money something can make, the more power an organization can have with whatever it is, the more you can corrupt governments and get people involved and branch out into other areas too, right? From that drug trade. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how far it goes. And I actually, maybe, I don't know if you guys could share with us like how this kind of stuff got started, like what the modern day incarnation of the drug cartel is. It's like, man, did that get going? Like, was that like back in ye olden times, like 1800s or something like that? Or is the South American drug cartel kind of stuff, is that more of a recent phenomenon? Because it seems more like a modern day era kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think it existed too much back in the day. I think, one piece of pop culture that does a really good job of kind of showing the birth of these cartels is Narcos. And like, Narcos is part of the reason I rock the stash today, because it's just such a power move. But no, they do a really good job of kind of showing where like the Sinaloa cartel and how Pablo Escobar got his start. So I don't think it goes back, way too far, but definitely in the 1900s to where like they became powerful enough to, sway elections and started to get into the drug trade, because a lot of the time it was weed. They started off importing weed, and but they realized, with cocaine, it was a whole different game changer. Yeah, you can make, 10 times the money off of, 10 times less the product with cocaine.
Yeah.
And Narcos is probably one of my favorite pieces, especially on Netflix, because you got like the memes that came out of that show were legendary. Plus the actor that plays Pablo Escobar. Like anytime I think of Pablo Escobar, he does such a good job. He looks exactly like him. And also who plays the Mandalorian? Pedro Pascal. Yeah, Pedro Pascal also does an amazing job as like the CIA agent there, or the DEA agent.
Is he like one of the main dudes?
He is, in one of the Narcos. I think in the Colombian Narcos, he is like one of the main guys on the task force.
Oh, okay.
it's an amazing show. I've watched it multiple times, and I tend to watch it only in Spanish because it's one way of really learning Spanish. It's really good. Yeah, because they all speak super clear. Muy poquito.
Does that mean a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been practicing. My fiance is fluent in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I've been down to Mexico a couple times, and when you go down there, you realize it's all cartel controlled. Like all the tourism's cartel controlled because that's where they have such low level. It's weird. Like I talked about the web of hierarchy within the cartel.
Uh-huh.
It is such a big organization that those roots run so deep, like down to the lowest level drug dealer of just a guy in Mexico coming up to you and saying, "I got weed, I got coke." Like they are affiliated with the cartel all the way up.
Wow.
Like it's, their tourism is part of the cartel because like tourists come in and they do these activities and then they have these low level drug dealers come in and, sell you weed and cocaine while you're doing it. And it's like, it's just crazy because like you think like these countries run off tourism, but no, they also run off the drugs being sold due to the tourists in like these areas.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is the cartel. I'm going to say it like a billion times. If you turn this podcast into a drinking show where I'm like, or a drinking game where I say the cartel is nobody to mess with, you'll be plastered by the end of this podcast.
I don't even think I realize how big we're talking about because there's almost like a disconnection when you consume so much pop culture on a certain subject like this. That's just, if you are just talking about it like straight, it's all bad, man. It's so like the corruption and the death and the killings, all associated with the drugs, which are horrible and getting shipped into the United States. Like we watch all these movies and TV shows about it, play video games, but it's like, I think it's one of those things that doesn't quite hit you of like just what a big problem it is. It's only, I think it's maybe loosely associated, but I saw more recently The Sound of Freedom or Sound of Freedom. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah. How is that?
Yeah, it's brutal, man. It's rough because it's based on a true
good?
story. Yeah, it's good. It's a well-made film, too, but it's basically based on a true story about Tim Ballard, who used to work for...
I've been following Tim for a long time.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, with Operation Underground Railroad.
Yeah, Operation Underground Railroad.
Yeah, I've been following him for a couple of years now, so I'm glad his stories came out because that guy's a really good guy, and he's been doing a lot of good work.
Well, his story is well told in the movie. I highly encourage everyone listening to this to find it, go out and look for it. There was even a special message at the end of the movie during the credits. Jim Caviezel comes on and he says, "Hey, if you could pay it forward and buy some tickets for some people to go see this movie because it's being independently distributed, trying to get out there to as many theaters as possible. But it's an uphill battle because it's basically Tim Ballard's story about how he got involved and started Operation Underground Railroad and did undercover work, stopping child sex trafficking,
Yeah.
And just what it's a $1.5 billion a year industry. Like we're just talking about the kid, like the child sex trafficking part. It's disgusting. And he talked about, I listened to an interview with him and Jim Caviezel, Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel together, just talking about how he got going with it and what inspired him and the stuff that he has seen in his life. Man, you just would not believe it. I think that's probably why it's so hard to get that kind of movie in particular out in the world because people just don't want to believe that kind of evil exists.
Yeah. Also, I'm a firm believer that the reason that movie's not being distributed like it should be, like a big production, because like you have big names involved in it. Like, isn't Mel Gibson like directing and producing it?
No, it's this is something different. I think you might be thinking of the Passion movies. Passion of the Christ.
Oh no, I'm positive.
Really?
That Mel Gibson is literally involved.
Oh, okay.
In this
I didn't know. I know that Glenn Beck. They talk about Glenn Beck kind of helping out with Underground Railroad, I think, but. Operation Underground Railroad, but no, I had not heard Mel Gibson's name in relation to him, even though I know, of course, they are good friends from doing the Passion of the Christ movie, and they're doing another one too. But that's off topic.
Mel Gibson is the executive producer.
Oh,
for the
okay,
release,
there you go. I
he endorses it.
The credits go at the end of the movie, and there's like 15 different executive producers, so they must have got a lot of private parties interested to finance the movie.
What blew my mind is like you have a movie with such a strong message that was like sounding like you obviously liked it. So was it well done for their budget?
Yep.
Yeah, a movie like this with such a good message that is done so professionally that's being kept from the public eye. I think it's absolutely just because there's people within, large Hollywood that know this is happening and are protecting this. So the second the second awareness is being driven, that's when the kind of gloves come off, and it becomes kind of a danger to them, because someone's gonna be like, what are you doing? Because obviously people know. So I definitely think there's a couple Hollywood higher ups that are definitely involved in this type of stuff,
absolutely,
and want it to keep going, and that's why there's people have to go through the back door in order to put this out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, they even say in the credits, kind of the after credits, little fact blurbs, United States is one of the biggest destinations for child sex trafficking in the world. It's so sad to
it is super sad
to think that that's true. But anyway, it's all. I'm sure the cartel's got a hand in that kind of stuff. Anyway,
sure.
But in terms of pop culture stuff, in addition, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode, and by the way, this was a suggestion from a fan as well. I can't find the email, but you know who you are, so thank you for the suggestion. Doing cartels, I don't know if it was like through Discord or maybe a DM in Instagram, but somebody suggested this for an episode, and so thank you. But we just finished Ghost Recon Wildlands on my live stream, and it was basically it's Bolivia, and there's a guy, El Sueño. He's the leader. He's trying to create the state of Santa Blanca.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
You probably know the feeling. Sweaty, fast breathing, quick heart rate. That's a cortisol spike. It feels awful, and its imbalance is the cause of your anxiety. Rebalance Health's 3-part anxiety system helps address it at the root. Rebalance Health lozenges are natural and designed for optimal absorption, providing 24-hour relief. Live life fully without feeling like you're fighting for it. Get 50% off your first month with code CALM23 at rebalancehealth.com.
But he's the main bad guy, and you basically are like a 4-man ghost team working for a high-level CIA agent named Karen, who go in to try to destabilize. Karen. Yes, she's the ultimate problem creator.
Codename Karen.
Codename Karen. And anyway, good open world game, lots of fun. I broke into Breakpoint a little bit after that as well. But Ghost Recon Wildlands, super cool open world. Do anything you want. You have different types of missions you can do. You can help out Pakatari and the rebels. And you can go after. You have to start at the lower end of the network that he has. There's this whole map of all the people that are connected to El Sueño. You got to start taking them out one by one, and doing different missions like that. You can steal cars and motorcycles and helicopters and build up your dudes. It's a cool action RPG open world stuff. Legendary in the gaming community, I think, and maybe not so much Breakpoint. People say the Breakpoint is not as good. Or at least it wasn't as good when it first came out. Now they say it had a lot of DLC and a lot of development. So I'm looking forward to playing that one as well. But Ghost Recon Wildlands, really fun. I guess Bolivia wasn't a big fan of the game when it came out because they're like, our country is not like this. We're a good country. But probably a problem to some degree. It's weird though when you think about a country like that, or maybe Afghanistan, where like cocaine, like the coca fields or the opium stuff over in Afghanistan, where it's like a part of somebody's livelihood, you know, and then you try to come in and you're like, oh, by the way, you need to stop doing this because it's bad. You should grow like soy or corn. I can see how that might be a problem for somebody that's not known anything different.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy because like when I was spending some time in Colombia, like, you think all the legislation in the world would be totally up against these dudes to keep them from, obviously populating the world with 90% of the cocaine trade because that Colombia is responsible for 90% of the cocaine in the world. 90%. And you think there would be legislation in place from the government, because if you're known as, if you are trying to be a good guy in government and your country's known for 90% of the illegal, cocaine exportation, you think you'd do something to try and stop it. But like even there, like the cartels have learned that, the coca plant is indigenous to Colombia. Therefore, the indigenous, because there's so many, like Colombians, they were like broken down into tribes, which I had no idea. And like, there are some actual indigenous, Colombian folk that reside there. And if you are from this specific indigenous tribe, you are legally allowed to grow coca plants on your plantation, but in quantity. Second, but they are so smart that they figured out that the cartel can literally just group these indigenous people together and attach their lands close to each other to be able to build entire cocaine plantations on legally. Because like, say you have like 4 plots of land, and in that corner where all 4 meet, they will grow the plantation, and they will say, this section is Juan's quantity that's legal. This section is Ricardo's. And like, so they can do it completely legally, and they can grow these coca plants. Wow. Yeah, so they're, the cartel are no one to mess with.
Take a drink.
Yeah, because they're smart. They are businessmen. Businessmen first and foremost, and they know their product and they know the legislation better than anybody. So they can literally grow this stuff legally, and then the rest is behind closed doors. But like they're able to do like they're able to do the manufacturing legally. But it's when you get to the, obviously taking the coca plant and building, you can, coca plant is harmless if it's just built, but until you start building that stuff in all the cocaine labs, then it becomes a huge problem. Those are obviously done in the jungle legally. That's what they're coming after. But you think it'd be easy just to stop growing coca plants and end the problem there, but they can't. Have I told you? Have I told you my crazy Pacific Northwest probably drug grower incident?
Dude, you're full of stories, man. Yeah, tell me. No, what is that?
We were doing this training op called the Movement to Contact, where literally Movement to Contact, you walk all night. You walk all night. It's like a 2 or 3 day exercise, and you walk all night, make a patrol base, hit a target, pack up, sleep a little bit, walk some more, and you end up walking like 20 miles over the night of just like hitting targets after targets after. You're literally moving to contact. So one time we did this exercise and it ended with like these nuclear silos, like an hour or 2 away from Fort Lewis, where we did like this giant raid on this like nuclear facility. Nice. But like along the way we hit like, these objectives. So one time we were walking and you just get dropped off middle of nowhere, middle of the Pacific Northwest, like just in the trees. Like we were backwoods just walking. And obviously we just have, all our blank gun. Like we have guns, but they're all blanks. And we have some smoke grenades and some flashbangs, but that's pretty much the most lethal thing we have. I mean, some dudes have knives, but they're for opening MREs. But yeah, we were walking and it was pitch dark, and we're all moving down this little road. It was like a dirt road. It wasn't a real official road that we found. It was on the map, but like obviously when you're walking that far, you're not going to break brush the entire time. So we're walking along this road. I remember I'm wearing my nods and we're walking along, and I see like this tiny light in the distance, and it turns out to be this house just tucked. Like we've been walking for hours and haven't seen anything, and we just come across this house in the middle of nowhere, and it's got like its porch light on, and we like stop because literally somebody ran into this like cable that was crossing the road, and like attached to the cable was all these bells. And like it was basically a tripwire to like, and it was an early warning system.
Warning device. Oh my gosh.
It was literally like a made early warning system, and it like made a bunch of noise, and that's when like we saw the house lights like flicker on. And like I know we're far enough, but it's pretty dark, so like they can't see us because like we didn't have any lights. Like we were still practicing like noise light discipline and everything, and we're like kind of on a knee just off the road, and I see the lights flicker on, and this dude comes out with a shotgun in his hand. And I'm like, oh no. We totally stumbled across this like illegal growery type of back road type of setup. And then like we literally just sat there and waited for him to go back inside. Because could you imagine that like you're living out here, your early warning system goes off, you're already paranoid because you're doing illegal shit.
Yep.
And could you imagine you just see dudes in full gear like just outside? What would you
think you're getting raided, man? Yeah.
Yeah, you think you're getting raided and just start going off. And we were like totally wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, and you guys got
we were
nothing,
just like,
man.
hey. Yeah, I was like, what are we just going to throw smoke grenades at this guy if something happens? So like the second he goes back inside, we all just start beating feet like down this road. And there's a platoon of us. So it takes some time. But like all I remember thinking is like, God, this is the worst. I was like, please don't shoot me. I don't want to be the guy that dies from a crazy dude during training, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that's my illegal growery come across story.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I didn't realize what a problem it was up in the Pacific Northwest and places like that.
Honestly, one of my favorite, and it has to be talked about this episode, is the Sicario chain.
Oh yeah.
I think from a military perspective, it's so well done because like they have all the gear, they have all the guns, they do all the tactics and the cool stuff.
Yep.
But also you get like a good eye into the cartel and just how like it's weird just how we're like almost like back in the day where we funded the Taliban to fight the Russians.
Yeah.
And then it turned around and bit us in the ass, and now we're fighting the people that we funded with the equipment we bought them and all the training we gave them, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like in Sicario, we're like, we are working with the cartel to get rid of another cartel.
Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, there's these dudes are smart. These dudes are so smart.
Yeah, and
it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's government agencies that are playing that kind of game. The Sicario reminds me of, it was Iran-Contra back in the day where we were funding our support, I think, for Iran at the time by, how was it? Iran-Contra. I watched a movie recently called Kill the Messenger, and it was about, there was kind of two parts of it. There was like the drug part and the weapons part. But basically, Kill the Messenger is about the uncovering of the U.S. government paying for or like enabling drug dealers to come in to bring drugs into the United States and then taking portions of their profits in order to fund like the Contras, the Sandinista rebels or whatever down in it's like Nicaragua or something like that. But like, so there was this whole like war on drugs banging the drum throughout that whole entire period, and all the while the U.S. government was enabling drug dealers to bring stuff up here and using the money and the profits from that to go and fund their little operations and stuff. And so yeah, it just goes to show you it's the same kind of thing as Sicario where Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro, they bring in Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt's kind of like the foil, she's kind of like the straight man, so that you can see through her eyes. In the movie, all the stuff that they're doing, like they're getting in bed with all these bad dudes in order to take out other bad dudes.
Yeah. It's a great movie. And like even the sequel, Soldado, has like a, it incorporates all the things we were just talking about like using kids as like lower levels. Cause they like they get that little kid to basically run on the state side. Cause I think he lives in like Texas.
Yeah.
And you want a nightmare of a city that, the Juarez, Mexico and Texas border. Yeah. That's scary stuff. Yeah. That's like, you can't even imagine. I think pop culture undersells what's happening.
I think a lot of stuff with something like maybe the example like Sound of Freedom or other things like that, if they really told what was going on, it would kind of turn people's stomachs. Like it stops being entertaining and starts being it's just disgusting and twisted.
Yeah. And like people don't want to go, spend $12 on a movie ticket just to feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, they want an escape. They want a little bit of the sense, maybe the sense of danger, but not too much because
because I'm trying to live my life here.
Yeah, trying to sell tickets here.
Yeah, but Soldado's great. using that kid as kind of a mule as well. But yeah, their tactics are just, are just ridiculous, and they're immoral, and it's extremely effective.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I at least watch Sicario and Soldado anytime, any chance that I can, just because it's done so well.
Yeah, that's Denis Villeneuve, man. Dune, Arrival, everything that he does turns to gold. And that was kind of in his earlier days as he was building his body of movies. And now he's just so successful, he just does whatever he wants. But yeah, the first one was he directed by him. The second one was not directed by him. Still written by the same guy, I think. That's Taylor Sheridan, who did like Yellowstone. I think he did the follow-up series to that, and then also Hell and High Water. So he's all about, I'm sure he's done a lot of research about that whole life, the Sicario, Soldado, the cartel stuff. He's a big fan of creating kind of modern Westerns, too. They're basically Westerns.
No, he definitely does that. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a little turn here, because, we've been talking about the cartel, and as you guys know, the cartel is no one to mess with.
Take a drink.
But, we know they traffic people, and we know they sell a lot of drugs. And on the topic of drugs, I see, Izzy, that you've put here a bunch of pop culture fake drugs. So what is the obsession here, my friend?
I just think it's funny because in a lot of movies, they will have fake drugs. And so I kind of did a little bit of research and compiled a list of the top fictional movie drugs from sci-fi and but mostly from sci-fi movies and television shows. So I just think it's pretty interesting. Everybody knows that when it comes to video game drugs, they're actually good because the video games or drugs are what you inject yourself with. They give you hit points
keep you in
back.
The fight, and
they
there's
give you
no
magic back. Yep.
Yeah.
There's no side effects except in.
There's no side effects. There's no repercussions.
Yep. In the Fallout series, that's one of the few series where they actually you can get addicted to drugs, and there are negative side effects to not getting cured of that addiction of drugs. But I just have a few here that I wanted to mention. That some of them might be cool if they existed. Definitely, I don't think they would be cool if they existed. I'm glad they don't. But the top one is Temp V, man, from The Boys.
Oh, is that your top one?
That's my top one because
it gives
we all wish. Yeah, this one and then another one we could talk about, but the NZT-48 from Limitless. I guarantee you that would be a big problem, man, if this was available. Modified version of Compound V, which is, as it's revealed in the series, is what they have experimented on and given to people as babies to give them superpowers. So it's not like a natural thing that you're born with. It was actually an underground government experiment, or also perpetrated by Vought Industries. But it basically, if you inject it, good possibility you're going to get superpowers for 24 hours. You don't know what they're going to be, and also because it's not a completely stable substance. It eventually, after about 3 to 5 doses, it does become lethal. You grow tumors, and it makes you nauseous afterwards, muscle spasm, migraines, nausea, that kind of stuff. And so one of the characters after the 3rd season is up, that he has Billy Butcher. He's got a limited time on his life because he's taken it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
and he just can't stop.
That would be. Would you take the Temp V?
Dude, I don't think I would. That? I don't think I would because I'd be too afraid of something happening to me, or because you don't know what superpower you're going to get. There was also one. What was the other one? The Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx, where you could bust this thing, and it was like you could get powers, but then you don't know what they would be, and then it could also be lethal. It was like Limitless or Power. Power Project. The Power Project.
Power Project.
Yeah.
Project Power.
Project Power. There it is. Yeah. Kind of a cool concept. It's like an underground drug. Same thing like Temp V. Yeah, but there's he's a part of, I think he's even a part of a police unit that's specifically formulated to go after this drug particular. And then he gets involved, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's another officer, and pretty good, pretty well done movie. Not the best story, but kind of like Temp V. It's one of those things. Cameron, would you take Temp V?
I've thought about this. I don't think I would, man.
Yeah?
I mean, just because you don't know what you're going to get. So, like, and I know, like, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say hard no.
Okay.
Just because, like you said, you don't know what you're going to get. So you could either get an amazing superpower, or you can end up like that one guy that can just elongate his penis, like, really far.
Yeah.
You know, and wrap it around people's necks.
Yep.
But I feel like, you know, if I got a shitty superpower, regardless, you feel amazing on it. Like, even, you know, Huey's superpower, where he just becomes
invisible.
He becomes invisible.
Well,
like,
can he? No, he can teleport.
He can, like, teleport places,
but he can't. His clothes don't go with him.
Yeah, they don't stay. Yeah, and to me, that's not like the coolest superpower ever.
Yeah,
you know, like Bob Butcher's superpower is pretty cool with the laser eyes and everything.
He basically becomes like a mini version of Homelander. He's got superhuman strength. He's got laser eyes. Yeah. So.
But to me, I don't think I would take it, because even if I did get a really cool power, like, that type of feeling isn't one that you can just have once. Like, I know myself. I have an addictive personality, okay? Like, if I find something that I enjoy, I'm going to use it recreationally. And, you know, and knowing that taking it 3 or 4 times is lethal and is going to kill me, I don't think that's worth it. So I would rather just, like, you know, try to be a super dad.
Yeah, try to just be a super moral person.
Just try to be super at everything I did in a very normal way. But yeah, no, I wouldn't take it, just because I know, like, trying to chase that dragon. Like, a lot of people say, like, you know, you can't do meth just once. It's like, oh, it feels so good that you need to keep doing it. And, like, anything, because you look at crack addicts, you look at meth addicts, and, like, they've given up their entire lives just trying to chase this feeling. Yep. And, you know, to me, that must mean, like, that drug is so good. Yeah. Like, it's going to sound weird to say, but, like, meth must be the greatest thing ever.
But it's
like,
also,
you know, crack must, but it must make you feel, like, amazing. Yeah. I've never done it, because I've seen the people that do it, and they literally, anything that good that you're willing to sacrifice and live like that, I don't think you should even try that. Yeah. So that's the kind of my thought process with Temp V, is because, like, if it's that good, you're going to want to do it again, regardless of the you know, consequences. Yeah. And in this case, like, the consequences are death. Yeah. Which, I mean, with meth and cocaine and, you know, and all that stuff, death is a very real consequence as well. So for me, I'm good, man. You know, I'll eat an edible every now and then, but
there you go.
But no, I'm good on the Temp V. I would do the NZT48 though from Limitless.
Yeah, I think I mean that one, you talk about an addiction, man. Like, to have that kind of access to your mental faculties, to be that smart,
unshackled,
and
to use your brain capacity,
And but then, you know, like, I think you'd find a way. I haven't seen the movie, and there was even a TV show, I think, based off of the same concept. But withdrawals, blackouts, and worse, I mean, I think just like, it's coming down off of that and losing your capacity and knowing how capable you are when you're on it. Oh God, I can't imagine the addiction, man.
That's a terrible feeling. I mean, people are kind of already trying to do that now with, like, all these, you know, practices of, like, how to, you know, speed up your productivity and how to feel good. Like, to me, like, you know how cold plunges are super big, like sauning's really big. Anything to make you think more clearly. Yeah. Like, everybody's hopping on that train. Yeah. You know, at a small scale. So if there was literally a drug that could solve everything, that could unlock your potential to what people are spending thousands of dollars right now just to, you know, feel like they're doing that. I mean, I love cold plunging. It makes me feel great, and that's why I do it. But could you imagine, like, how much you would be doing, you know, NZT48 if it totally unlocked all your potential and, like, that was the only way you can get anywhere?
Yeah.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep. Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Like, yeah, that would go south quick.
Now, let me say this, though. I recently took, this is going to sound really pretentious. I recently took an apothecary class for like natural remedies. And I'm telling you, man, some of that stuff, it's all just plant-based. You just make it out of some oils and some plants. You put it all together in certain measurements and mixtures. And I'm telling you, man, it's really effective. I just started taking we did a couple things. We made like a poultice, like an anti-inflammatory poultice, which is like a little mush that kind of rub on, sore part or something. We made a muscle rub with beeswax and some other things, all natural. And then even an anti-inflammatory liquid that you kind of rub on sore spots. I'm telling you, man, it's working. So there are so many things in this world that we have just naturally that God in his infinite wisdom has given us access to that, I'm telling you, man, if it's pretty amazing how you can feel with just some of these natural remedies. So the stuff in the sci-fi movies, it's all pumped up, but the world out there has some pretty amazing things, pretty amazing natural enhancements. Obviously, some of the stuff isn't natural, like the formulated things, but it's pretty amazing what the earth has to offer, even apart from kind of the...
I mean, do you remember when CBD came out?
Dude, it just blew up, man. Yeah.
It blew the hell up because they were like, this stuff's amazing. And it grows naturally. Why wouldn't you use it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of time before someone's exploring the Amazon and comes across like some random plant that they... Okay, first of all, this... I've always thought this, just because, back in tribes would just smoke shit, So how do you think, marijuana came to be? Do you know how many people died just, smoking poison ivy?
They're just looking for something to smoke until they got to the right
try
plant.
putting that in your peace pipe, Quam. And it's like, oh, okay. And then he just dies. But imagine they're like, oh, my God, you need to try this. How do you find these plants, it's kind of the same argument, who was the first person to discover milk? How much of a sick bastard must have that been?
Yeah. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna get stuck on its
He's
teat.
like, oh my God, look at those udders. Let me just, stuff's coming out of it. Let me taste it.
Drink it.
That's, I always think about that. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of natural stuff out there that's really good. Mushrooms are on a huge kick right now.
Yeah.
Mushroom supplements.
Yep.
I'm not talking magic mushrooms to make you trip. But I see them on Joe Rogan all the time. I keep getting populated ads on my feed for these mushroom supplements, and everyone's like, "Oh, I love these."
Yeah, no, I mean, but even the microdosing of psychoactive substances like mushrooms is becoming more and more legitimized. There's more research being done on it to actually help people with different conditions. I got a buddy that is a big believer in microdosing stuff because he deals with ADHD so yeah,
there's a lot of research coming out on that stuff about microdosing and how it's actually proven to treat PTSD and help with symptoms and all that.
Man.
I haven't done it. Would you do that? Would you?
I would totally do it, man. Yeah. I would. Because it's if it's done in a controlled way, and you can't do it for recreation. It's not a recreational thing. It's like you're saying, dude's dealing with depression, anxiety, PTSD. If there's just something that you can just take, and it helps regulate the chemicals in your brain, because that's what we're talking about with these kinds of things.
Yeah,
absolutely. You don't have to take any You don't have to go and pay hundreds of dollars for such and such thing created by Pfizer or some other large corporation, big pharma thing. It's just something that just naturally grows, and you just got to go, you got to find somebody that's responsible that can administer it to you. I'm totally about that, man. I'm all about natural remedies more so than I ever have been, because it's just stuff that just grows out in the world. Sometimes out here in California, just out in the bushes. And if you know what to
out
look
in the bush.
for, and so I think it's a total gift, man.
Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, I think I'd do it as well.
Yeah.
But I am scared of what I will see. But anyways.
Now,
I think... Oh, go for it.
Nope. I mean, the next one is from one of my favorite sci-fi universes, the Dune universe. It's the spice melange, which is the most valuable substance in the entire universe within this series.
Spice.
And it only grows, it only happens on one planet. And that's Dune. That's Arrakis. They call Dune the planet of Arrakis, and it becomes the center of, all the conflict, which is basically just like a sit-in for oil, because that was around the time when it was written. And maybe there's some it's where they get the inspiration of the Mongolian desert worms or something, Mongolian death worms.
Mongolian death worms.
It's because they got these huge worms that are partially responsible. I think they have something to do with the creation of the spice, but it extends life, gives you energy, keeps you young. It heightens your senses, expands your consciousness. There are even, I forget if they do it in the newer version, the Denis Villeneuve version, but in the 80s version, which I like. I don't care what anybody says. I love that version. But they're these giant like worm like creatures that are just people who have taken so much spice over thousands of years they become mutated. They're the navigators, the Chom Corporation navigators, and they're the ones responsible for folding space, which allows hyperlight space travel across thousands of light years to happen. So the spice is it's so central to everything in the entire universe, and which is why there's all these governmental house Game of Thrones type conspiracies going on, and I can't wait for it. At the time of this recording, we got the sequel coming out at the end of 2023. I'm very excited for it. I love that. I love that with Denis Villeneuve, what he's done with it, because he's a big fan of the book from way back, and he's got the two-parter. It looks good, man. Spice Melange.
I'm excited for you. I do like Dune. After you put me onto it, it's very entertaining. I was sad that literally What's Her Face, who you think is the main character in it.
Oh, Zendaya?
Zendaya, you think she's the main character, and she's literally in it only in flashbacks, and then makes like a 5-minute cameo at the end, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Pretty much. I think she's gonna be more. She's gonna be more in this next part. Than she was
she's
in the
gonna. I
previous.
have a feeling she's gonna be like dominating the second movie, but like she's on all the posters and everything.
Yeah.
And like she was probably on set for like maybe 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But well, cool, man. I'm excited. You're excited about that, and I'm excited about this fan question that we had, because we talked a lot about the cartel, as you know, that they're nobody mess with. We talked a lot about fictional drugs, but this question is so out of left field, I feel like we should just go for it. It has like nothing to do with anything.
All right.
I'm pretty jazzed.
Yeah.
All right, this fan question comes to us from Ibrahim Khan, and it was by our email. So if you want to send us a question to be featured on a potential future episode of the PCFM podcast, go ahead and send us your questions to pcfmpodcast@gmail.com or to our Instagram, PCFM Podcast. Or if you're on our Patreon, do it that way. And if you're on our Patreon, you're probably on our Discord. You can do it that way too. But Ibrahim wants to know, what do you think about the counterterrorism specialists, firearm officers in the British law enforcement?
CTSFO, Counter-Terrorist Specialist Firearms Officer. United Kingdom Police Firearms Officer. Standard is the highest authorized firearms officer level in the National Police Firearms Training Curriculum, established by the Metropolitan Police Service in the lead up to the 2012 Olympics. So it's kind of their counterterrorism unit for the Metropolitan Police Force.
Yeah. For me, all the units I've worked with, usually anything that has to do with CT, counterterrorism, that's like tier 1.
Yeah.
So, like special forces, like typically if you're a CT unit in special forces, you're probably like CAG.
Yeah.
Or, you're, a cut above the regular special forces. So if these guys are a counterterrorism unit within the police force, I'm assuming, because I didn't know anything about these guys until I saw this question. But looking into them and that link and doing a little research, I mean, I would assume. Plus, the Brits are very good at what they do.
Yeah,
I mean, we know the SBS, we know the SAS, we know all these UK Special Forces units, and even their paras and commandos as a tier 2 unit are absolutely amazing. So I'm assuming they're no different, just on the domestic police side.
Yeah. I don't have any experience with them. Either, but from what I've read, they're top dogs, man. It looks like they really put a lot of work into what they do. It's interesting, the hierarchy of armed response units in England, because they're very restrictive on their gun laws there. Regular police, like street constables,
don't even carry guns. Just regular beat cops. They don't carry guns.
Yeah, which is very different from here in the United States. But so apparently it's very hard to move up and to actually get to this armed response type units. So obviously, if you're on this team, man, you're something special. You're tier
You're something
one.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot of cross training too with active UKSF. So
Nice.
I mean, I'm assuming they're probably not on the same training schedule as them, but
Yeah.
if they're cross training with them, then people believe that they have the same capabilities and the same tactics and prowess. So for me, yeah, the CTSFO is cool. I like them.
Yeah.
I can't wait to one day meet them.
Yeah, I would like to meet them as well.
Yeah.
So Ibrahim, I hope that answered your question, my friend.
I hope it did as well. And as we come to a close of this episode, just as we always do on every episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, we play a game. And since I can't see it... Oh, no, I'm sorry. And since I can see it, that is me. I am the game master, Izzy. And this game is perfect for Izzy because it's what Chris wrote here, so it must be true. That's Chris's words, not mine. This game is called Putting the Horse Before the Cart. I'm going to say the nickname or street name for a drug, and you tell me the drug's proper or legal, I guess, name. Disclaimer, in case anyone is an idiot, drugs are bad, especially 93% of the ones on this list.
There you go. Lesson to all you kids out there and some of you adults.
Yeah, don't do drugs, kids.
So you give me the name of a drug and I give you its official name?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you like a slang term for a street name of like a drug, and you're just going to tell me what that drug's actual name is. So pretty straightforward, but there is a lot of drugs out there, so I hope you're ready.
All right, I'm ready for drugs.
And I'll tell you, Chris, some of these nicknames, I've never heard any of them, so this is going to be fun. And I've tried a lot of drugs.
I have not, so I think I'm in trouble, man.
I'm kidding. I haven't tried a lot of drugs, but I am a big proponent of rap music, so I've heard a lot of nicknames.
Yeah.
So
it's not a stereotype, man. Drugs are all over that rap scene. I think it's more about glamour and having the bling now, but it used to be about drugs.
It used to be, but it's still about the drugs.
Yep.
The drugs give you power. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, first one, no warm-up, K-Pin.
K-Pin?
K-Pin.
K-Pin. K-Pin. Is this a pharmaceutical type drug?
I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea what this one is.
K-Pin. K-Pin. But it's got a K in it.
K-P-I-N.
K-Pin. Dude. I mean, I think it sounds like Klonopin, but I don't think that's like that's a pharmaceutical thing. I don't know if many people are addicted to that. Don't ask me how I know what Klonopin is. But I want to ask my wife. My wife might know. She's done a lot of drugs.
No phone of friends.
All right.
No phone of spouse.
I'm going to say Klonopin, even though I don't think that's the answer. It's the only one I got.
You are correct. It is Klonopin.
It is Klonopin? Oh my
Good
gosh.
for you, man. So how do you know what Klonopin is?
I have had encounters with people that we're having a hard time with that one.
No, okay, yeah. So. Yeah, it's like a anti-panic attack, like it's an antidepressant kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, you got it right, so thank those people that were having a hard time.
I will. That will be the one positive thing that came out of their struggle.
Yeah, right? Oh, thanks. You helped me out in the game. I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing better. Yeah. All right, next one. This one should be pretty straightforward. Xannies.
That sounds like Xanax.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Xannies are indeed Xanax.
Xanax is what again? Do you know what I've heard of it. It's like is it an antidepressant or
Xanax is yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like what's the word? Like what other drug am I looking for?
Upper, downer, I don't know.
It's a downer for sure.
Okay.
It's why am I forgetting the name of this? It's like what was that one Netflix documentary that came out about the birth of this one drug? They hit the street and there was this doctor and she was literally writing prescriptions for anything.
Dope sick?
No,
that was about something else.
Opioids. Oxycontin. Yeah, Oxycontin.
Oh,
yeah,
Oxycontin.
It's like Oxy. It's an opioid.
Okay.
Xanax is an opioid. Okay. Here we go. All right, next one, Special K.
Special K. Huh. Special K. Crack? I'm on it. I'm on crack. I'm gonna say
Is that
crack.
your final answer?
Crack cocaine.
No, it is ketamine.
Oh, ketamine. Oh, pharmacy.
Yeah, Special
okay.
K, ketamine.
Ketamine. Okay.
Never heard of Special K?
No, I don't think so.
It's a niche name.
Okay.
I mean, ketamine is obviously like pretty bad, but yeah, they call it Special K.
At least they're not getting too creative, so I'm still hopeful I can pull out ahead because it's like they're using letters from the it sounds like the word.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're doing pretty good, man. I mean, a lot of these are difficult. There's a lot of drugs out there. I was surprised you got Klonopin, but
Yeah,
all
I
right,
mean,
Special
a lot
K
of
is
pharmaceutical
indeed-
stuff, man. That
yeah, a
seems
lot
to
of
be
pharma.
the-
So they're all opioids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of pharmaceutical drugs can be abused as well.
Yeah.
So moving on, Yellow Sunshine.
Yellow Sunshine. Huh. I've never heard of this one before. That does not ring a bell. Yellow. What's yellow? Yellow Sunshine. Oh, man.
Hello, sunshine.
The earth says hello. Man.
I'll give you a hint on this one.
All
The
right.
hippies love this shit.
The hippies love this stuff. Is it... Oh, man. Hippies, huh? I mean, aren't they all into weed? Or is it like ecstasy or...
Now that's ravers.
That's right. So hippies...
Think about like something you would do at Woodstock besides weed.
What's that? What's the Chasing the Dragon one?
No, that's
Opium?
heroin.
That's heroin. Yeah.
I'll give you another street name of this drug. It's called a tab.
Tab. I don't know.
You
Yeah.
even just did it. You literally just.
I know.
You literally just.
But
did
that's
it. Yeah.
ecstasy. I thought that was like ecstasy.
No, think about something that comes in sheets.
Comes in sheets. Comes in sheets. Oh, acid.
It's LSD. but
LSD.
yeah.
Okay. Is that still correct? LSD. Is acid
I mean, acid
LSD?
isn't the same. It's not the same as LSD, different chemical compound, but pretty much gives you similar effects.
You don't have to give it to me.
It's
LSD.
okay, I'm not going to give it to you.
That's a classic one. What's his name?
Yellow Sunshine is LSD.
LSD. Yellow Sunshine. All right.
Yeah.
Learn
So when
something
someone
new.
says like I was tabbed out,
Tabbed out.
that means because the LSD comes in a little tab.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Boomers.
Boomers, huh? I'm thinking.
I've never heard this name being called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pills.
I've heard it been called caps.
Caps. Huh. That's so general. Boomers. All my friends out there, all my drug addict friends, help me out here.
Honestly, it's a good sign that you don't know a lot of these.
Yeah,
These
maybe
are
that's for the
clean.
best. Yeah. Boomers, eh? Boomers or caps? I'm just gonna take a stab. Speed. Say speed.
Unfortunately, it is not speed. They are mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Okay, boomers. Okay, I get a little mushroom cloud. Maybe boomers.
Maybe I hear them called caps a lot.
Yeah.
It's like mushroom cap.
Mushroom cap. Gotcha.
Yeah, so caps.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad. We got a long list here, so we're just gonna knock them out. Okay.
Okay.
All right, next one. Stardust.
Stardust. Man, is that to cocaine?
That is indeed cocaine. You
Okay,
got it.
Stardust. Get the dust.
Yeah, also known as booger sugar.
Booger sugar. Even here, if I'd never done it before and I heard that term, that would probably be enough to turn me off from doing it. Like, I don't want to
Yeah,
take anything
or
that has to
nose
do with
can-
boogers.
Booger sugar, nose candy,
Nose candy.
Stardust.
A little more appealing.
Yeah.
Blow, right? I think.
Yeah, Blow. Yeah, entire movie is named after that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Sleet.
Gleet.
Sleet with an S.
Sleet?
Sleet.
Sleet. Like snow and sleet?
S-L-E-E-T. Sleet.
Sleet. I mean, I want to say cocaine again because it's like sleet, snow, white powder, white substance. Sleet. Never heard of this one. I'm gonna have to call it.
Okay, this is crack.
Oh, crack. Okay.
Crack.
All right.
Yeah, which is interesting because crack and crack cocaine are different. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Honestly, there's so many drugs out there and there's so many like specifications.
So many drugs, man.
Okay, two more. Monkey.
Monkey.
Yeah, give me some of that monkey.
Oh man.
Big hint, they use it in World War II.
Oh. Monkey.
Soldiers used it.
Oh, oh man. Was it? That's not cocaine.
If you're shot, you might want some monkey.
Oh, okay. That's morphine.
Yes, it is morphine.
Good hint. Good hint. I might not have gotten another one. I would
Give me
not
some of
have
that
gotten
monkey.
it. Monkey morphine. Gotcha.
Okay, last one, but not least, because there's probably way more out there. But these are called Arnold's.
Arnold's? Huh. Well, now wait a second. Let me not think too hard about this one. I'm just going to say anabolic steroids.
I'm just going to say you are absolutely correct.
Hey, okay. All right.
Yeah. I'd never heard them called Arnold's.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I always heard them called roids.
Yeah, roids.
Roids, gear.
Maybe that's a newer one because Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about back in the day, it wasn't like a big deal because it wasn't regulated yet.
Oh, did you watch that documentary?
Yeah, Pumping Iron. He's like, yeah, back in the day, everybody did it. That's just what people did, Or he would talk about that, that everyone would do that back in the day and it wasn't a big deal, so. But, yeah.
Arnold's, gear, roids, Trenbolone sandwiches. Yeah.
If you're not into the whole brevity thing, that's funny, man.
No, I like slang. But that's all of them, dude. I think you did better than most would do.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
At least like talking about a 40-year-old just guy that doesn't do a lot of drugs. So I think you did pretty good.
Just an average guy who watched too many movies and played too many video games growing up.
Exactly. Well, man, I hope you had a good time. And most importantly, I hope the listener did, just as good as that game. And if you did, you should probably call someone.
You need to seek
we're
professional
concerned
help.
about you.
Yes. We appreciate you joining us, folks. If you want more amazing content, join us on our Patreon. Full episodes, extra episodes, and a live stream every month for our top tier subscribers. Reasonably priced, if I may say so.
Extremely reasonably priced for the bang you get for the buck.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. And we're looking to create even higher quality content for you in the future. But we appreciate you, team. That being said, cue music. What's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much, much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.